So those of you here that were here last week, or when was that? Tuesday, on Tuesday's call, um, Jim shared with us an introduction to the 6 paramitas that we're going to be expanding on over the next 6 weeks. And the paramitas are also referred to as the 6 ways of compassionate living. That's how Pema Chodron refers to it. I really like that description. The 6 ways of compassionate living. And so the idea is that they're a way for us to let go of our aversion and attachment in many different aspects, and to really just get beyond ourselves, to get beyond some notion that there's an us and them, a me and other, but that we're all interconnected. And today we're going to talk about generosity, which is a beautiful topic, and actually one that I struggle with. So generosity is really about letting go, and letting go of our attachment to our beliefs about ourselves, of what we need, of what is enough, of what we have to have, and of a scarcity mindset. I love this idea of scarcity. I found it really helpful. And this woman, Lynn Twist, who wrote this wonderful book called The Soul of Money, she talks about our sort of Western culture and our mindset of scarcity. That we wake up in the morning thinking we haven't slept enough, or that we don't have enough time in the day, and that we need more. We need more money. We need more food. We need a better job. And obviously there are so many people around the world that actually are in need. So that's not what we're talking about here. But even still, often you'll find the people that are in the most need have the most fluidity with what they do have, and a much bigger sense of that interconnectedness and of wanting to share with others. And certainly with indigenous cultures, this sense that the earth is sharing its bounty with us, and that we're only taking what we need, but that we can have confidence that there is enough for all of us, that we can be gracious and generous and share what's available. We don't need to be grasping and thinking that we need more, that we need more money, more clothes, a better house, etc., etc. My role model for generosity is my partner. He really is an amazing bodhisattva, but especially around generosity. He grew up, he didn't feel that he was poor, but he grew up of limited means in the projects in Brooklyn. No one in his family had gone to college. They all just worked hard and had this amazingly wonderful, generous family. And he has just extended that generosity growing up. And now he's an ER doctor. So he feels like he has so much to give and share with the world. And it's the last thing he would want to do would be to hold on to that. And that's a really interesting thing with generosity is we're working with this clinging or this tightness that we might feel around what we have. And maybe it's even around our time. Like we feel like we can't offer that much time, or um, our undivided attention. There's so many things where we're holding back and not sort of opening up and letting go. With my partner, I have to say, I'm just like almost daily astounded by the next generous thing that he has done. And it is so natural to him and his entire family. But their box of Girl Scout cookies was on our kitchen counter yesterday. I was like, oh, where'd these come from? And one of his colleagues' daughters was selling Girl Scout cookies. So he bought 50 boxes and he donated them to the staff at the hospital. And then last week, his niece was selling Girl Scout cookies in Baltimore. And so he bought 50 boxes from her, and those they donated to the troops in Maryland. Yeah, so it's just constant. And I find myself at times, because he's the person who will pick up the check at dinner if we were out with friends, with people who have far more money than we do. But he would always pick up the check, and I find myself constricting, like, oh, what are you doing? But with him, it just flows freely. So I think it's really interesting to look at that that discomfort that you might feel even around passing the homeless person. Why don't we just reach out and give money to the homeless person? We can have all these ideas about it, but usually it's from some kind of constriction of, oh, I need to keep this for myself. I think during this pandemic, both things have happened, that our hearts have been opened and that many of us are volunteering or giving to more charities or trying to help out restaurants or friends or people that we know are suffering or in need. But then there's also, because of this pandemic, this feeling of tightening and constriction, that we have to protect ourselves. So generosity is working with that sort of boundary and noticing that tension and pushing through that. Maybe with small gestures. Maybe it's just every time you see a homeless person, you just give them $1, pushing through that resistance. Or even when you cut up the cake, are you keeping the biggest piece for yourself, or are you offering the biggest piece to your loved one? Are you calling your mother because it would make her day, or are you tightening and not bothering to call today? I'll call tomorrow. These moments come up repeatedly, through the day, so we can use this as an opportunity to let go and let that generosity flow. So I'll just read this short piece from Pema Chodron. This, many of you might have this book, Uncomfortable with Uncertainty. She has a few chapters on the paramitas that are really good. But so the journey of generosity is one of connecting with the wealth of bodhicitta, or awakened heart, so profoundly that we are willing to begin to give away whatever blocks it. We open ourselves and let ourselves be touched. We build confidence in all pervasive richness. At the everyday level, we experience it as flexibility and warmth. So if we all just want to take our seat. And thinking of extending that generosity to ourselves. So having our posture nice and straight but flexible, our head lifted, our heart and our chest open. Feeling stable in our seat with our feet on the ground if we're in the chair, but feeling stable and supported. Just initially letting our minds settle with the discussion and really just coming into our bodies. Bring our attention to the top of our head, to the eyes, noticing any tension in the eyes or the eye socket, down through the nose and the jaw. Base of the skull. Noticing if you have any tension or tightness, you can breathe into that, you can let it go. Relaxing the shoulders. Just noticing any sensations as we scan down through the torso and the belly. Maybe breathing into the belly, letting the breath flow through us. Noticing any tension in the hips or the knees. Just letting it soften. Letting our breath just happen naturally. Letting go of any agenda we have for today and our to-do lists. We could set an intention of generosity and how we could extend that out today to all those in need. We could open our hearts. We have the intention to allow that generosity to flow towards us and through us. And letting whatever thoughts arise just pass on by. Whatever sound catches our attention. Letting go of any agenda, any thoughts of doing it right or doing it wrong. Letting go of any judgment. connecting with our inherent openness and wakefulness. Softening any tightness or constriction. Really internalizing that we are enough, that we have enough. That there's so much abundance in our world, in our natural world, not to be taken, but appreciated and shared. That we could have an aspiration today of generosity and letting go. So we can contemplate the four immeasurables. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all be free from sorrow and the causes of sorrow. May all beings never be separate from the joy that knows no sorrow. May all beings rest in equanimity, free from attachment and hatred. We could all bow to each other. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about generosity and scarcity.